Okay, so last week we were looking at, or before the half term, we were looking at all to do with global warming and climate change and what that was and what it meant for the planet. And we touched on about renewable and non-renewable energy resources. So we're going to have a further look at this today to really deepen our knowledge of what these are and the impact of these. So the aim is to understand the difference between renewable and non-renewable energy so that we can understand where energy comes from. We can identify what the resources are and the impact that these have on our planet as well. So first I want you to write the word retrieval as a subheading or as a title, and I want you to write me a paragraph to tell me everything that you can remember about what climate change was, what global warming was, and the effect that this has on our planet. So I'd like you to pause the video now and have a go at writing me this paragraph to tell me everything you can remember up till now about what we've already previously learnt about. Once you have done that, press play and we will obviously have a look at the next part of our learning. So, non-renewable energy. So this means it's energy that comes from natural resources that are not naturally replenished. So they're not naturally, we can't make more of them. So things like coal, oil and natural gas. Okay, we cannot make any more of these. So that's why they're called non-renewable. We can't make more of them. We can't renew them. So what do we use energy for? So things like gas is used to heat our homes, so to keep your homes nice and warm. We need it for water, to make our water nice and hot, for you to have hot baths and hot showers, and to cook our food. So your ovens, will need obviously some gas to be able to help to cook the food or to boil the pots which you've got your vegetables in as well. Okay, we need energy to power our cars. So our diesel, our oil, so petrol, and now obviously they're starting to look at electricity, but obviously up till this point they've always been diesel or petrol cars or oil cars, so that your cars can run as long as possible on the roads. And we also have obviously electricity to power lots of things such as lights, televisions, computers, as well as lots of other appliances that you've got in your homes. So we're going to look at how this energy is made. So to start with, we're going to look at coal energy. So this is again a non-renewable, because we learned lots about coal mining in year 2 and how obviously now we've got less and less coal to be able to use, and the effect of the coal as well. Burning it is not a desirable outcome. So coal is mined from under the ground and burned in large power stations to produce electricity. So in the big power stations, which you might see if you go to Escape, they have the big power stations there. They look like massive chimneys that are pumping lots of smoke out. So the coal that we use cannot be replaced. So one day there'll be no coal left. And burning coal is also bad for the environment because it lets out carbon dioxide and also carbon monoxide as well, and it gets released into in the atmosphere. And again, that's looking at that greenhouse effect, that it's trapping all of those gases inside of our atmosphere and not releasing the heat back out. So oil is another one. So oil energy is found deep underground and pumped to the surface for us to use. Oil is burned at some power stations to make electricity and is also used to make fuel, which we can use in our cars as well. If we keep using oil though, there will be eventually none left. So obviously this is another source of energy, which is particularly for our cars and being able to run our cars, that if we keep using, there'll be none left, and that is why we're starting to do things like make electric cars to stop burning oils, not only because they'll run out, but also the carbon monoxide they'll release as well, which is damaging our planet. Okay, we have nuclear energy. So a nuclear power station uses uranium, which is a natural resource taken from the ground, and it's used to make it's burnt in power stations to make electricity. This nuclear power doesn't produce much waste, so it doesn't produce much that's being released into the atmosphere. However, and so it is a very clean way of generating energy. However, again, nuclear energy is continuing to use a resource which we might eventually run out of. So gas energy, so natural gas is found deep underground and is pumped into our homes, and we can use it to cook, to burn, to boil and heat the water and keep us nice and warm in our homes. Now this gas that we pump from underground will one day run out, and so there won't be any left to use. So that is why we need to keep finding new ways to make this energy and to provide this energy into houses so that it doesn't run out. Okay, so because we don't want things to run out and because we want to help make our planet better for future years coming up, we are now trying to use something called renewable energy resources. And these are resources that we can actually replenish, we can make more of, we can use more of the natural, they naturally occur. Things like sunlight, things like wind and things like waves, that they will naturally just keep happening all the time. So we are now starting to look at how we can use those natural resources to make some energy and renewable energy which we can keep making over time. So the first type is solar energy. So solar energy comes from the sun. The sun can be used to give us heat energy, and so solar panels are used to convert the sunlight. So it takes in all the sunlight from the sun and it takes it into these panels, which you can see on this building here. You might also, if you go for walks, have a look, you might be able to see some. There's also in, I can't remember, East Ardsley or West Ardsley, there's a massive solar panel farm. You can also see lots of solar panel farms throughout the country as well, where they're using these solar panels to put onto their roof so that they can turn all that sunlight, that natural resource, and turn it into electricity, because of the heat of it is obviously making that electricity. We have wind energy. So wind energy, these are what we call wind turbines. You might have seen mini versions which you can buy from like the seaside, where you can put them in your garden and they spin round because of the wind. So these are extremely large, which if you have a look around, you'll be able to see some. They can either be in the sea, they can be in fields. There's quite a few around here as well. So again, if you're ever on a walk, see if you can spot some wind turbines. These are used to convert wind into energy, into electricity, and the way that this happens is the wind blows the blades, so the blades spin around and that movement is converted into electricity. And if you find, as I said, if you find you can see a wind farm if there's lots of them together. So if the wind blows, they spin around and obviously convert that to electricity rather than having to burn any fossil fuels such as coal or oil. And what you will see is that they don't all face the same direction, because sometimes obviously the wind blows from different directions. So on a wind farm there'll be lots in different directions to catch the best flow of the wind. Okay, we have something also called hydropower energy. Now this is what comes from water, the movement of water. Now what happens here is the water flows down fast flows rivers and it's used to spin turbines. So just like the wind turbines, there are turbines under the water which the waves spin these turbines, and that's in the dams, and that generates electricity as well. And then obviously that electricity is used to help with your houses and things that you need electricity for. Now the movement of big waves in the sea can also be used as well to generate energy, again through if they've got turbines or things in the sea for them to be able to turn those for the electricity. Geothermal energy, so this is the heat from under the Earth's surface. So this can be collected from hot water just below the Earth's surface on hot magma deep below the surface. Now we have talked about the way that the Earth is made up and how there's obviously the top coat, then obviously the magma before it gets to the outer core and the inner core in the middle of the Earth. And obviously we know as you get closer to the centre of the Earth, it obviously gets hotter. So the geothermal power plant is used to convert the heat from under the Earth's surface to use it as energy as well. So obviously that's how we can generate that electricity that way. And obviously biomass as well, this is another one. So this just means natural materials. So energy can be obtained by burning natural waste materials such as scrap pieces of wood, dead trees and unused parts of crops. And this biomass is used to create something called biofuels, and that can be used as well to help generate that electricity and that energy to be able to use as well. So why don't we use renewable energy all the time? Because obviously looking at this and thinking about how we can use natural resources like the sun, waves and wind, and how we can actually use that to make renewable energy? Why are we not using that all the time so that we can protect our planet and stop things like coal and oil running out? And the reason for this is that at the minute, renewable energy such as wind and sunshine can't be sorted to be used whenever we need it, okay? Because obviously, if the wind doesn't blow, or if it's not very sunny, there isn't enough power to be shared to everybody because it's not making enough power to be able to give it to everybody in the country. So non-renewable resources such as oil and coal can be stored and used when they're needed. And it's much cheaper than a renewable energy source, which means that not everybody can afford to use the renewable energy. So we're trying to use more renewable energy through making electricity and things through solar panels, wind farms, turbines, and to generate that electricity. However, obviously, if the weather's not right, we need to obviously go to the backup stores of the non-renewable resources so that we make sure that there is enough energy for people to use. So, what I'd like you to do now is I want you to produce, and you can make this however you would like. You can do it as a leaflet, you can do it as a poster, an information document, a piece of writing. It is completely up to you. But what I would like you to do is I would like you to tell me the difference between renewable and non-renewable energy resources. And what I'd like you to do is I want you to draw some pictures. So for example, if you're going to do like a leaflet or a poster, you could draw some pictures of some houses with some solar panels on and explain that solar panels are renewable energy resources because it uses natural resources such as the sun to be able to make that heat and take in that sunlight to generate electricity. So you might put that as one part, then you might tell me about something else. And what you could then do is really kind of to showcase that understanding is then maybe in a you could do some did you know facts, and you could tell me about the impact of non-renewable energy resources and how if we keep burning them, one, we're going to run out, and two, we're going to continue to release different gases into the air, which is giving obviously this global warming and climate change effect, to be able to really showcase that deeper understanding. So once you've done that, please can you put that on Seesaw so that I can obviously have a look at it, and then obviously moving forward we can see where our learning is going to take us next.